Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we are going to be doing a 12-team PPR mock draft from the 12th overall spot on FantasyPros.com. This is post the 2021 NFL Draft, the first one that I've done after the NFL Draft, so the draft's going to be a little bit different, obviously, as players have changed their values because of what happened in the 2021 NFL Draft. Now, is the ADP going to be perfect? No. The running backs like Najee Harris are probably still going to get drafted too late to what will actually happen in a 2021 fantasy football draft, but that's just what we have to deal with at this point. During this video, I'm going to talk about my perspective of my picks as well as some of the picks around me, whether I like them or not. So if you guys do end up enjoying this video and you want to see more fantasy football content, you want to see more mock drafts, more content about the players, anything like that, anything you could think about, I pretty much posted about fantasy football, so make sure you hit that subscribe button down below if you are new, and if you're not new, make sure to hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. So let's get into it. 12-team PPR mock draft. The roster positions go as follows: one running back, not one running back, you silly goose. One quarterback, two running backs, two wideouts, a tight end flex, kicker, defense, and 6 bench spots. Interesting enough, the NFL schedule for next season will be out within the next couple of weeks, I believe, and that means that we're going to be able to actually figure out which defense that I like, because my defensive strategy is to draft a defense that I feel like has an opponent that's not the greatest week 1, and that is going to result in a high amount of fantasy points for the defense, and then every week I switch them out for a different defense, unless, of course, they have 2 good weeks in a row, 3 good weeks in a row, then I just continue playing them. So the draft started off with Christian McCaffrey, followed by Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Ezekiel Elliott, Jonathan Taylor, and Stephon Diggs. Now, the first round of every single fantasy draft most likely is going to be heavily dominated by the running back position. Now, you may be in a league with people who are much newer, and in that case, you're going to see quarterbacks go off in the first round, but I would say in a majority of drafts, the first round is going to be a majority running back, and then 2 or 3 players that are not a running back, so receivers, tight ends, or maybe quarterbacks if you're in that kind of league and Mahomes goes in the first round. Now, when it comes to Travis Kelsey, I am personally not a guy who in the past was really aggressively targeting a first-round tight end, and that's where Travis Kelsey is going to go. I understand he is not off the board yet, but in 99% of the leagues, I think he goes off from the 106 range to the 109. At the 112, I do not think where we are picking he would be available, because he is such an advantage at the tight end position. Every single week, you set your lineup, and Travis Kelsey's in it. You don't even have to think about it, whereas if you're streaming tight ends, you're drafting later tight ends, you're pairing 2 guys together, every single week, you're doing some mental gymnastics trying to figure out which guy to start, unless, of course, you hit on the tight end darling that there is every single year. 2 years ago, we're talking about Mark Andrews, stuff like that. So at our pick, I would pick Travis Kelsey, but again, I do not personally believe that he would be there, and I'm trying to make this as realistic as possible, so we are going to end up going with either a running back or a wide receiver with our first overall pick at number 12. Personally, I really enjoy picking at the end of the draft because I like going with the double selection in a row. That's just how I prefer drafting. Again, you can win your draft at any single spot, but remember, you can't win your league at the draft. The draft is just a part of the big equation, which is why you got to continue to subscribe, because I post videos during the season as well to help you build up that roster. But the draft is very important. Don't let that, what I just said, kind of discourage you from putting a lot of work into the draft. So for the draft here at the 112, I want to go ahead and get at least one running back in this 1-2 punch that we're going to get here. And the best running back available, we got Cam Akers, Antonio Gibson, Joe Mixon, Austin Eckler, Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift, Miles Sanders, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Out of this group, I like Eckler a lot as a first-round pick, Antonio Gibson, and Cam Akers. The rest, I'm a little bit more worried about. I think Joe Mixon is going to be good. The coaches are coming out. They're saying this guy's a 3-down back, which I believe, but we have to believe in the offensive line. Giovanni Bernard is gone, so that's good, but it doesn't necessarily mean that Joe Mixon will have a lot of success. We've seen it in the past, but I'm not going to draft him in the first round. I like Austin Eckler, but Nick, he got injured last year. He screwed me over, blah, 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 blah. Take last year out of the equation when it comes to injuries. You just don't worry about that. You're trying to project what comes to next season and what I believe will be a workhorse running back in Austin Eckler. Now, he doesn't even have to be a workhorse in the carry department because he's a workhorse in the receiving department. He's going to be getting so many receptions. We saw with Tyrod, Austin Eckler was terrible in the first game. And then once Justin Herbert, the pervert, was under center, Austin Eckler was eating Ezekiel Elliott style. So I believe that Austin Eckler will be worth a first-round pick, and I'm going to pick Mr. Clean himself at the 112. At the next overall pick here, since we go back-to-back Michael Jordan 96-97, I'm going to attack the running back position again and go with Cam Akers. I am a huge fan of Akers, and I like Antonio Gibson as well, but I think at the end of the day, Cam Akers in LA has a solidified position. They got rid of Malcolm Brown. Sure, they still have Darrell Henderson, but Cam Akers down the stretch was the guy. I expect the LA Rams to be a very high-octane offense. They were with Jared Goff. Just imagine how much better they're going to be with a quarterback who has the potential, in my opinion, to be a top 10 guy in the league in Matthew Stafford. I think this offense is going to be running like fucking Usain Bolt when he runs the 40. I don't even know what they actually run in the Olympics, but he's fast as fuck, Lightning McQueen style. Cam Akers is going to be scoring a lot of touchdowns. He's going to be getting a lot of opportunity as the lead back in LA. I am heavily buying into Cam Akers this year. If you guys have seen mocks in the past, I've really talked about him a decent amount because I really enjoy Cam Akers for this year's fantasy. So after we went ahead and drafted Cam Akers, Antonio Gibson came on the board, followed by Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, A.J. Brown, Michael Thomas, DK Metcalf, Travis Kelsey, Keenan Allen, Joe Mixon, George Kittle, Me Timbers, Patrick Mahomes, Allen Robinson, DeAndre Swift, Justin Jefferson, Darren Waller, Julio Jones, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, J.K. Dobbins, James Robinson, Terry McLaurin, and Lamar Jackson. So James Robinson goes off in the 3rd round here. I just want to let you guys know there's no way he's going to be picked in the 3rd round anymore after they selected Travis Etienne, running back out of Clemson, with their 2nd pick. Maybe it was pick overall 22 in the draft. They drafted Lawrence, obviously, with the 1st pick, and their 2nd pick was Etienne, which to me was an idiotic decision. I've already ranted about it like fucking 3 separate times on this channel on the live stream. After it happened, I was pissed. And a couple days ago video, I talked about it. I was pissed. I'm still mad about it because I think James Robinson is owed to be the running back there. He did enough. He's an undrafted rookie last year, and he does all this. I don't get why they drafted Etienne. I understand it's an upgrade at the position, but they need so much more than a guy like Etienne. But it is what it is. James Robinson will not be a 3rd round pick. At the 312, I think here is around where Najee Harris is going to end up coming off the board. Running back out of Alabama, gets drafted to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which one would describe as running back heaven. Back in the day, Le'Veon Bell was skull-fucking defenses. The next couple of years after he is gone, he's riding jet skis in Miami. James Conner comes in, and he's tag teaming these defenses. And he's not even as good as Le'Veon Bell. So imagine what Najee Harris is, one of the better running back prospects we've seen recently. Now, last year, the running back class was loaded. Just loaded. So this year, it looks a lot worse because there's not like 5-6 guys that I think could be really good, but Harris is at the top. He bodes quite well when you're comparing him to last year's class. I think that Najee Harris is going to be very successful. If he was here at the 312, that's who I would take. I am fine taking 3 running backs in a row and then hammering the wide receiver position later as the running backs just keep on, coming off the board. They're going to always come off the board. The receivers are going to fall much later, so I'm happy getting Najee Harris here. Again, Fantasy Pros is going to consider it a reach because that's not where they think he'll go, but I think he'll end up being around a 3rd round selection this season. And now we're back up on the board here. A bunch of quarterbacks have already went. Again, the quarterbacks in your league are going to go at different times per every single league. Some leagues are going to draft with some guys who want to go ahead and get a quarterback early. They want to get Lamar on their team. They want to get Mahomes on their team. They want to get Josh Allen on their team. Then there's going to be other leagues where guys are just chilling back. Chilling in their fucking lazy boy, waiting for a couple of rounds. Whenever they see the value, boom, Mahomes goes in like the 5th round. That's not going to be every league, like I said, so it is definitely different in every league. Whereas running backs and wide receivers, you can kind of see a trend in pretty much every league on where they go. So we are going to go running back Najee Harris, which we did, and now we're going to hop on the wide receiver train. Now, I like Amari Cooper a whole bunch. A knock on him in the past was that he was not really able to keep it consistent, but last year, Amari Cooper took all of the negativity that I spewed at him about him being, fucking not consistent at all, because in past years, he'd be like wide receiver 10 on the week, then the next week he's wide receiver 70, then he's wide receiver 2, and then he's wide receiver 50 the next week. But last year, as you can see, based on this chart, he was a lot more consistent week in, week out. But again, he's not really a guy that I am looking to target. I think Dallas will be great, But I really think that, like I said, this LA Rams offense is going to be great. Now, if you're the kind of a fantasy player who doesn't want to stack a running back and a wide receiver from the same team, I completely understand. Then you just draft Amari Cooper here, because I think Amari Cooper will be fine. But personally, I'm all about the Robert Woods train. I don't want to draft any of these Tampa Bay guys. Antonio Brown is back, and that is very worrisome for me because of how much Tampa Bay Tom airs out the ball. He throws it to everyone. You get the ball. You get the ball. You all get the fucking ball, Oprah Winfrey style. So I'm just kind of looking to fade the wide receivers there in Tampa Bay. If you guys have ended up enjoying, we're about 10 minutes in the video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. So after I went with Robert Woods, Miles Sanders came off the board, followed by Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, Kenny Golladay, David Montgomery, Mike Evans, Josh Allen, Cooper Kupp, Deontay Johnson, Chris Carson, Adam Thielen, CeeDee Lamb, Mark Andrews, Chase Edmonds, Josh Jacobs, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Juju Smith-Schuster, T. Higgins, Melvin Gordon, and Tyler Lockett. Melvin Gordon, another guy hit with the 619 Rey Mysterio at the running back position because they end up drafting UNC running back Javonte Williams in the second round. They traded past my Dolphins. I want Javonte. I'm like, damn, we're going to get him. And then, boom, the Broncos trade up. And I'm like, there's no way the Broncos draft a running back, right? They already got Melvin Gordon. We already know what Melvin Gordon is. It's the final year of his contract. Run the treads out. Draft the guy next year. No, they don't do that. So it is still possible that Melvin Gordon goes unknown. Not really unknown, but what I'm saying is he goes too far back, and then they just feed this guy the fucking rock because then they use Javonte in the future, and they're just letting Melvin Gordon die out there because that's just what NFL teams do. Or maybe it's like a 50-50 split of hell, which we've seen with Gordon and Phillip Lindsay in the past. So I'm just not looking to draft Melvin Gordon, even though I was one of his biggest supporters. Just look back like 2 weeks ago. I was talking about how much I loved him. So at the running back position here, there's a lot available, but we already got 3 running backs. I am very confident hopping back in on the wide receiver train unless we want to do something a little spicy, because normally I'm a guy who waits further on tight end, but with how Detroit drafted, they said we don't need a wide receiver. They drafted receivers, but they're no one of super big note. So now it's TJ Hawkinson and a bunch of scrubs. Again, one of them will probably end up being good. Which one will it be? I have no idea. But what I do know is that TJ Hawkinson is going to get the ball early and often in these games. He is the best wide receiver on the team, and he's a tight end. And if I believe that he is as good as he has shown me in the past, especially last season, his rookie season, he played one really good game. Everyone hopped on this guy's jock, and then he ends up not being that great. But I do think in 2021, Hawkinson will be great just like he was last season, and I'm very happy drafting him here at the 5-12 on the turn into the 6th round. After we went ahead and went with TJ Hawkinson, we are back up on the board, and while I typically look to go ahead and draft a wide receiver here, I just don't love any of these names. Brandon Ayuk, I like, but I'm not too sure what this offense looks like with Trey Lance because they could be running the ball so much. Because if you watch Trey Lance's tape, this guy ran for 1,100 yards in 2019. This guy is very comfortable in the RPO. In the kind of offense that Shanahan is going to run, they're going to be running a lot, so that scares me for Ayuk. Odell Beckham Jr. is just going to bust every single year. I've been telling people for a while, Odell is over his edge. He's not the same guy, and even if he was the same Odell who scored that touchdown on the Giants, reached back or against the Dallas Cowboys, reached back like 1-3, that's not Odell anymore. And even if it was, he's in Cleveland. Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, just loves to run the ball. That's his MO. He's gonna run, shove the ball down your throat with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and then you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna have Baker just not fuck it up, pass whenever, and I don't think Baker's a bad quarterback, but they're not going to be passing the ball that much, so I'm looking to fade Odell. A guy I do like a lot, though, is Cortland Sutton. The question, though, is who's going to be the quarterback in Denver? They bring in Teddy Roosevelt, Teddy Two Gloves. Horsecock Drew Lock is still there. There's talk about Aaron Rodgers picking up the phone and yelling at them saying, I want to come here, this, that, and the other thing, that he wants to be in Denver. Is this fucking Peyton Manning 2.0? I don't know. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but I do like Cortland Sutton, but I think the running back value really falls off after this pick, and I'm going to go ahead and snag my boy Myles Carroll Gaskin, running back of the Miami Dolphins. Mike Davis, a running back I like as well. Same thing goes with Kareem Hunt. The Dolphins do not elect to draft a running back early as they wanted Javonte Williams, but he gets traded up for by the Denver Broncos. Myles Gaskin is going to be a piece in this Miami Dolphins offense. He got used heavily. He was a big proponent as to why we won up against the Las Vegas Raiders in that game where we benched Tua. Ryan Fitzpatrick comes into the game. He gets his fucking helmet yanked. He throws a piss missile down the side. Mac Hollins catches it. And then I think we kicked the field goal after that, if my mind seems to keep up there. Jason Sanders hit the game winner right there, which was beautiful. Myles Gaskin is very involved in this offense. Salvin Ahmed is the running back too. They drafted, I believe his name is Jared Davis maybe. Drafted him in the fucking 7th round of the draft. Who cares about that? I mean, I hope the guy's good, and I hope he has a good life, but he's not useful for fantasy football, I'll tell you that much. So Myles Gaskin is going to be my guy at this pick. Now on to the 7th round of the draft. We're going to definitely be looking to build up our wide receiver core here, and knowing what I just saw, the fact that Kareem fell into the 7th round, I would have rather taken my shot on maybe Brandon Cooks or Cortland Sutton at this round rather than waiting. Now, none of the rookie wide receivers have came off the board, but let me tell you, people are going to talk themselves up with Devontae Smith, up with Jamar Chase, and up with Jalen Waddle. I think Devontae Smith could be very good. In redraft purposes, I actually think he's the guy I'd like to draft the highest. Jamar Chase is in a crowded offense in Cincinnati. A very good pick NFL draft-wise, but for fantasy football, it's not the greatest. After one with Myles Gaskin, Robbie Anderson came at the board, followed by Dallas Goedert, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, Brandon Cooks, Mike Davis, Brandon Ayuk, Tyler Boyd, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, Jarvis Landry, Will Fuller, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert the pervert, Odell Beckham Jr., Jalen Hurts, Curtis Samuel, Baby Chark, Antonio Brown, Deebo Samuel, Tampa Bay Tom Brady, and Chase Claypool. So we're the only assholes sitting here without a quarterback, and that's A-okay, but you want to make sure if you're the guy who's waiting on a quarterback that you're not stuck there with a thumb up your buttocks, because in that case, you're going to be waiting and you're going to forget that these people in your league are going to start drafting backup quarterbacks before you can even get your guy. And in that case, you are screwed, because then you're going to be stuck with like quarterback 25, and then Baker's going to end up being your starting quarterback, and you don't want that. So at our pick here, again, if I could go back, which you can't, I would have picked Kareem Hunt. I would have picked the receiver, then went with Kareem Hunt, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. So we're sitting here at wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy still available, Devontae Parker, Hollywood Brown, Corey Davis, Marvin Jones. Not a group of guys that I really like. Again, I think Chase Smith, all these guys might go ahead of this. But we are only in the 7th round, so there is possibility that people aren't necessarily bought in that heavily. But at this pick, I like Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy did a whole lot at Alabama to be considered the universal wide receiver one in that class, but John Gruden was smoking some of that hashish, and he did not end up drafting him. He elected to go with Henry Ruggs, and we saw how that worked out. Jerry Jeudy didn't have a great season. He did have a lot of targets. I think in 2021, in his sophomore year, he's going to improve with Cortland Sutton by his side. I love Jeudy in 2021. An easy draft selection here in the 7th round. After I went with Jerry Jeudy here, we're going to be looking to continue to bolster the wide receiver room here. Even though, again, maybe he goes higher than this, I like Devontae Smith. I do. I think that while Philly has doomed the receiver position, they literally draft a guy and they sign away his fucking rights, and the guy sucks. Right? That's just what happens. It happens with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. It happens last year with Jalen Reagor. Instead of drafting fucking DK Metcalf, you draft J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Instead of drafting Justin Jefferson, you draft Jalen Reagor. Not the greatest, but this time they had their choice because they knew Jamar Chase wasn't going to be there. Devontae Smith was the clear answer there. I think he is going to be worthy of an 8th round pick. Call me crazy, but I'm going to do it anyways. So after we went ahead and drafted Devontae Smith, Kareem Hunt came off the board, followed by Raheem Mostert, David Johnson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Parker, Laviska Shenault, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, J.D. McKissick, Travis Etienne, Tevin Coleman, Hollywood Brown, Corey Davis, Naheem Hines, Michael Gallup, Devin Singletary, Michael Pittman, Damian Harris, Marvin Jones, Mike Williams, James Conner, and Gus Bus Edwards. Now we are back up on the board here. We still don't have a quarterback, but that is A-okay. It's time to take some shots at the running back position. I think Drake may actually be worth it. If Jacobs was to go down, Drake could be good, but Drake low-key looking like he may be the slot receiver in Las Vegas, according to Gruden. Again, don't really buy into anything Gruden says, but he seems like he would be one of the better handcuffs if that's just what he is, so I'll happily draft him here in the 9th round. There's also reports that Aaron Rodgers might be a Las Vegas Raider. Very interesting. So you never know. We're going to go with Kenyan Drake here at this pick and follow up with what will be another running back off the board. And I'm going to take a shot here on Javonte Williams. He is going to be the running back 2 in Denver, but maybe it's a 50-50 split. And if something was to happen to Melvin Gordon, knock on wood, let's hope that doesn't happen, Javonte Williams could be very, very nice for my roster. So after we went ahead and drafted Kenyan Drake and Javonte Williams, Mike Gesicki came off the board, Sterling Shepard, Tariq Cohen, Jalen Waddle, Logan Thomas, Michael Carter. Michael Carter's an interesting pick. He landed in the perfect spot in New York, but he's also really undersized. Really undersized. After that, we see Cole Beasley, Zach Moss, Jamison Crowder, Marlon Mack, Jamal Williams, Nelson Aguilar, Denzel Mims, A.J. Dillon, Christian Kirk, Tony Pollard, Kyle Pitts, Phillip Lindsay, Jeffrey Wilson, Robert Tonyan, Latavius Murray, and Hunter Henry. Next up on the board here, we're going to be looking to snag our quarterback. Now, I'm not going to go with Matthew Stafford because in that case, I am so heavily buying into the Rams. If Stafford has a bad game, then my team is completely just off its hinges because I have 3 guys starting on that same team. Is that a good strategy in best ball? Yes. But not in redraft, not in redraft. So we're going to end up going with Ryan Tannehill. Going to be underrated every single year. Oh, Nick, they only have fucking A.J. Brown. I don't care. I don't care. Ryan Tannehill is still going to be great. I'm still drafting him here in the 11th round. I'm still very confident in him. I also like Joey B at that pick as well. Same thing goes with Matt Ryan. With all these weapons, if Julio stays, sheesh. So we are back up on the board here. We got a decent amount of running backs. So we're going to hop back into the wide receiver well. At the wide receiver position, we're so deep down in here that we're just going to be taking some high upside shots at the position. I actually like Darnell Mooney a lot now with, them having a real quarterback. Mooney was open a lot last year, and Foles, 9-inch Nick, or the MVP, Mitch Trubisky, were just missing them on a lot of plays. So I think given they actually get the ball to Mooney, like if fucking Fields can throw it to him, he should be pretty solid. So I'm going to go with Darnell Mooney there. I don't understand why anyone would be drafting T.Y. Hilton, if I'm being honest with you. Just does not seem like the kind of pick I'm looking for with such he just hasn't been that good recently. I mean, it seems like he's just washed at this point now. I hope he's good again because I actually really do like T.Y. Hilton, but as the last couple years, he just hasn't been very good. After we went with Darnell Mooney, the Washington football team came off the board, followed by Evan Ingram, Hayden Hurst, Jonnu Smith, Anthony Firkser, who's going to be a very interesting pick, as it seems like he's going to be the tight end 1 in Tennessee. After that, we see Trey Sermon, Matthew Stafford, Darrell Henderson, Joey B, Blake Jarwin, James White, T.Y. Hilton, Javion Hawkins, who's an interesting pick as well, because he might end up taking over from Mike Davis, Jalen Reagor, McCole Hardman, Darius Slayton, Kenneth Gainwell, Salvin Ahmed, Keyshawn Vaughn, Sexy Rexy Burkhead, Taysom Hill, and Benny Snell. So we're not going to draft 2 quarterbacks, not going to draft 2 tight ends. We're just going to draft one more high upside wide receiver. So we got to scroll down to the guys that just ended up getting drafted. So we're going to type in Arizona, and hopefully he shows up down here. And this is who we want. We want Rondell Moore with the upside potential of being the wide receiver 2 in Arizona in a high-flying offense. I love Rondell Moore this season. So now we are back up on the board, and we're going to go with kicker and defense. Again, like I said, when I'm drafting a defense, I'm just looking for the schedule, week 1, who they're playing. So we're just going to avoid that first, and we are going to go with our kicker. Where the fuck are the kickers? Right here. Justin Tucker, the fucker, welcome to the squad, and then we're going to draft the defense, and then I'm going to recap some picks of the draft that I found interesting, and then we're going to head out of here. I know this was a quicker type of video. The mock drafts range from around 20 minutes. Sometimes I'm sitting here talking for like an hour. It just really depends on what I'm here to talk about, and if I just start rambling on, which is what I tend to do. But today's video, we kept it nice and concise. Nothing too out of the ordinary. We're going with the Dolphins. As a Dolphins fan, this defense is going to be insane in the membrane, even though I'm not a kind of guy who's going to be drafting just for the whole season. I got to see, but again, I've said this in every video, whatever the fucking grade they give you, it doesn't matter. I got Ryan Tannehill, Austin Eckler, Cam Akers, Bobby Trees, Jerry Jeudy, TJ Hawkinson, Najee Harris, Dolphins defense, and Justin Tucker the fucker. My bench is comprised of Myles Gaskin, Devontae Smith, Kenyan Drake, Javonte Williams, Darnell, here comes the Monet, and Rondell Moore. So some interesting picks here later in the draft. Taysom Hill at the 13-10. I would just draft Jameis. I think he's going to end up being the starter. Again, Anthony Firkser, very interesting late round selection, as he does have the potential to be getting a lot of targets in Tennessee. Kyle Pitts in Atlanta. I think people are going to talk this guy up so much. to where he ends up being like an 8th round pick. And I'm not too sure I want to take the shot on that because no rookie tight end has ever been relevant in fantasy. But then again, no rookie tight end was ever been as good or coming into the NFL as good as Kyle Pitts. Another interesting pick, we got Hollywood Brown at the 901. They bring in another wide receiver there. So it's very interesting with Rashad Bateman there in Baltimore. Will that help out Hollywood? Will it hurt him? Who knows? So thank you guys so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. I love you guys all, and I'll see you beautiful bastards tomorrow with another banger of a video. As always, guys, stay safe. Goodbye.